Chapter 1. Heat of the moment. The desert heat was beginning to swelter the higher the sun lifted into the sky. Devin had never pondered the exact reason why people would live in such a climate, but he knew that it wasn't one that he preferred. The only time he had been in a desert was when he travelled to play football in the southwestern parts of the country, where the sun blazed upon those who were unfortunate enough to wear their dark-coloured uniforms. He was forever grateful that his team's away jerseys were light-coloured. But now he was without the air-conditioned sideline fans, without much water or nourishment, and without the means to keep himself out of the overbearing sunlight. He bent down to give his sore left knee a rub. The heat felt good upon his old injury, but it still ached with the strain of walking around in the sand. Devin never looked at the 2 scars that lined each side of his kneecap. Just the thought of being debilitated in any way did not bring any comfort to him, especially now, in the middle of nowhere. Just why anyone would pick him to accomplish any kind of quest like this, he would never know. But there was no room left for self-doubt now. He had to trust in his choosing. The small tank top he wore under his flight suit was already soaked through with sweat. It was still a very comfortable shirt. He had no idea what kind of material the Alterians used, but to him it was comparable to a form of spandex. He had taken a knife he had found in the small survival kit from his ship and made some crude shorts from the jumpsuit he wore in flight, but that was the best he could do. There wasn't much else of anything useful in the kit. A few rations, some packs of water, and some other miscellaneous items that he had no idea of how to use. But it didn't matter, for now he was stuck, marooned with not much else to go by except for the large monument behind him. He tried not to get his hopes up too much by looking at it, knowing that it would be a while till it was cool enough to explore much of anything in the immediate area. Devin sat down against the ship as he began to reflect on what Wanda had tried to tell him before this quest started. None of it made much sense. Other dimensions and parallel worlds were just play words to him, sending his imagination spiralling towards something he just could not identify with. He wished he could contact his cousin and have her describe what was happening to him, just like in school. He smiled. It had been a while since he reflected upon his family and how they were getting along without him. Shaking his head, he tried not to think about the week that had gone by since he was first thrust into this bizarre turn of events. Devin was just as confused now about what he was supposed to be doing as he was then. If only I can see her again, he thought, remembering the blonde woman from his dreams. It was just another dream about a girl, but he had never seen anyone like her before. His heart melted every time he thought of her, what she said, how she touched him. It seemed so real, but it was only a dream. He hated those kinds of dreams. They never brought him much comfort in his ever-challenged love life. The only things it did bring him were more frustrations on why he had such a difficult time connecting with anyone. But that should have been the last thing on his mind right now. "It's not like there's much else to do out here," he spoke out to no one in particular. He observed the view of endless sand, trying not to pay attention to the decreasing shade around him. "I don't think I can disagree with you on that," replied a voice from behind him. Devin turned around, his heart stopping for a second. There, sitting atop the ship's rear engine, was a woman. She was watching the far horizon, her arms pulled back, supporting her body upon the metal surface. She appeared to be in deep thought, or at least a deep form of relaxation. The long strands of bronzed hair upon her head weaved about in the hot wind. The ragged robe she wore shifted about, fluttering around her knees. Devin was dumbfounded. He recognized her, but found it almost unbelievable that he did. "Who are you?" he asked in awe. She turned to him. Her eyes pierced him, leaving him even more in shock by her presence. They swirled with a light he had never seen before. Blues and reds surrounded by touches of greens laced her corneas. Devin haphazardly stood up, entranced, unable to form logic or thought. "I guess I'm here to help you," she replied. "Though, honestly, it wasn't what I was looking forward to." Devin slowly nodded in agreement to that statement, recalling her look from the dream. "I kind of guessed that," he muttered. "You didn't look too happy when you came down." The woman eyed him, his words catching her off guard. "You remember?" Devin grinned as he wiped some of the sweat off his brow. "I thought it was a dream," he told her. "I would have never realised that it was real." The corner of the woman's mouth turned upward. She shifted her head about, letting the wind blow the hair from her face. "All dreams are real," she replied. "It's just how you interpret them. Sometimes things are more obvious than you may think." The words stunned Devin. He did not know how to respond to that. Had all of his dreams been real? Even the ones he had when he was a child? Even the most recent, ungodly images he had been forced to experience? That one thought drove an icicle down his back. "I don't know what to say," Devin said. "Do you know why I am here?" The woman closed her eyes. "The specifics of why are not known to me," she replied with mild irritation. "Even I sometimes wonder what Brianna is doing during this whole merger thing." Devin's eyes fluttered. It was something that happened when something larger than he could comprehend was said to him. "Brianna," he whispered, realising the possible name of the woman from his dream. The woman's eyes narrowed as she shot a glare at Devin, noting his hang-up on the mention of her friend's name. She hopped down from her sitting position and stood before him, her agile movement snapping Devin's mind from its wandering thoughts. She extended her face to his, with a swirl of purplish reds leering at him. "I hope you are aware that you have been picked among the many in existence to perform a task of immense proportions," she sharply exuded, her tone low and harsh. "Have you any idea what is going on around you?" Devin thought for a second before his lips tightened. He had been waiting for someone to ask him that. "Well, why don't you tell me then?" he asked her, his words sharp as a blade. "It seems like there's been a strong effort in keeping that a secret from me so far. Or am I supposed to figure it out for myself?" The woman pulled back, her mind trying to follow his line of thought. He had been put in an odd situation of not knowing, not being aware of all that was happening around him. Did he truly have the right to know? Was she the one who should tell him? Her eyes swelled to a deep blue trimmed in purple hues. "I know things are difficult now," she replied, more withdrawn than before. "But they will become clearer in time. I don't know everything. I mean, I really don't know much of what to tell you. But you have to believe. That's about all I can say for now." Devin sighed. He was hoping to get a little more than that from her, but he was still grateful for her presence, knowing now that he would not be alone anymore. "Well, I guess we're in this together then," he told her, easing off his frustrations. "If it helps, I'm sorry that you are here, whether you wanted to be or not. But, in a way, I'm glad you are. I don't think I could continue on my own, here in the middle of nowhere. Thank you." The woman watched him, his words touching her more than she realised. No one else except Brianna had given her such sincerity through their words before. That brought the uncomfortable feelings back to her stomach. "You're welcome," she replied, "though I don't know how much I can do for you now." Her eyes scanned their surroundings. She didn't have any idea of what to do or where to go from here. Her hopes and prayers tried desperately to reach out to her friend, searching for some kind of guidance. "By the way," he added, "do you have a name?" The woman turned back to him, the question just beginning to register in her mind. "Uriah," she replied smoothly. "And you are Devin, the chosen one." Devin flashed a look of surprise as Uriah's teal eyes reflected back her amusement. "Chosen one?" he asked, shaking his head. Do I dare ask? All in good time, she replied, as she diverted her attention to something behind him. For now, we better prepare for what is about to present itself. She nodded toward his back as Devin turned around. Far off in the distance, he could see a dust swirl following a path through the desert. Something was moving along the dunes, leaving a large dust trail in its wake, and it was heading in their direction. What do you suppose that is? An unlikely source of help, I would hope, she replied. She took to his side, the dry wind blowing her hair before his face. Its bronzed colour fluttered about, leaving Devin to ponder his curious thoughts. Who is she, really? Where did she come from? Why was it her and not Brianna who had come to help me? They were questions that he knew he would eventually find out, but whether or not they were going to be answers he would like, he wasn't sure. All he could tell was that things were on the move, and he was about to be swept along in the wake once again.